fact, I held out for that.
Here comes the first reconnaissance element. It's obviously a Lend-Lease tank. This is actually a Vickers light tank. Scouting forward, trying to see where the Germans are. The anti-tank guns hit it, I think. It's cleared off the road there. Oh, I think it's on fire. They popped some smoke. As soon as the tank was hit, the crew would jump out. Because now you're not moving, you're a big target. So as soon as they're hit, the crew tends to bail out and take cover.
Oh bugger, the tank's on fire.
By the way, everyone you see here today is a volunteer. They're all unpaid, so they purchased their own uniforms, their own rifles, and so on. They purchased their own tanks and brought them here at their own expense. So here comes again another Lend-Lease item, a Bren carrier. These are to carry infantry, and they have a Bren gun, a small machine gun at the front. Russians firing back using rifles. Depending how good your eyesight is, you'll see them working as a broadcasting rifle. They're firing one shot at a time. Yeah, but this reconnaissance unit's in trouble. They're in pretty close for rifle fire at this range. So these guys are really pinned down behind their burning vehicles. Now, depending where you're sitting, you might have noticed there's two medics trying to help one of the wounded crew members on the, I guess that's the east side of the knocked out tank. You notice they're female. Yeah, in the Russian army in the Second World War, they had females in combat roles, fighter pilots and so on. The Canadian Army had lots of women in the army, but none of them in combat roles in World War II. As opposed to today, right, where everyone thinks women do every role in the armed forces. Again. Come up and take prisoners. Pretty brave thing to do in an unarmored vehicle. If you speak German, he's saying some pretty bad words there. He's pretty upset. I won't translate before you. The Kubelwagen was later produced by Volkswagen in the 70s. You could buy it here in Canada, known as Volkswagen's The Thing. And drive around southern Ontario in a vehicle similar to this. Oh great, he's abandoned his Oh, hunting snipers is better than cornfield man. Okay, one guy's been abandoned. I think we're going to hear more bad words here. And I see deploying to our left, Russian infantry supported by, again, another North American-made tank. It's actually a Sherman tank. As I said, a lot of vehicles were shipped to Russia in the Second War, as well as the Russians made lots of their own. And again, I would emphasize, everybody here is a volunteer, and somebody brought their own tank. The gun laws are funny in Canada. It's hard to own a pistol, but it's okay to own a tank.
There's a privately owned Chieftain main battle tank in Canada.
Here comes Russian infantry bravely rushing forward, supported by artillery fire. And an anti-aircraft gun in close to the British bleachers there, giving fire support as well. Way forward and not to run over into infantry. And you see some explosions down by the village as artillery is now hitting the German position. You'll see some of the Russian guys are firing while the others move forward. And then the other guys fire as the front set move forward. So that it's not everybody running at once. In theory, they're keeping the enemy's heads down as they fire. Fire and move and keep the enemy's heads down with lots of fire, supported by the tanks and the artillery. Now they're in close, you can see that every guy is firing single shots, right? You have to reload it each time. Whoops, one guy got overly enthusiastic. I think the tank may have been hit. The tank looks like it's on fire. As the range gets shorter, they're taking heavier casualties. I think some of them changed their minds and are now going back to Moscow. Again, the medics are trying to tend the wounded under fire. some of the Russians, if you look carefully, you can see along the cornfield, some of them kind of work their way around the flank. Because really there's too much fire coming off the German position to attack from the front. It's a pretty windy day, so the smoke isn't giving them much trouble. They're closing in on one of the German anti-tank guns on the left platform. And they've seized one of the buildings in the village, I think. So let's see what the Germans do about this. The frontal assault was definitely bogged down. However, the Germans are counterattacking. And they retake that building on the far side of the field. And the great gun is operating at the dead carrier, get the Germans in the flank. Oh, I think maybe they've done it. I see Russians pulling back. The Germans have stabilized their flank, and the main Russian force here has decided that's enough, so they fall back. So as I said earlier, you can see that German doctrine of counterattack immediately. As soon as the attack is followed, counterattack before they get reorganized and drive them back. That's exactly what you see the Germans do here today. Medics are trying to help off some of the Russian wounded. As the Germans have secured their position and held them off for a day or so here. So in the Second World War, as I said, 20 million Russians were killed. Something like 5 million Germans were killed, and 40,000 Canadians. So as I said, every guy here is a volunteer. They're the owners of the vehicles. They built the little village and so on. So ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to give a big hand to all the volunteers?